Welcome, welcome. We are live. If you're watching us live, hey, how's it going? Hope you had a great day today. Let me know in the chat where you're logging in from, where in the United States or Canada or across the world, wherever you are. I'd love to see who's the farthest from me. Let's play the competition. My name is Alex Barker, founder of the Happy Farm D, where we help pharmacists get jobs they love in 6 months. And today I am going to have lots of fun with Stephanie Thompson. She's going to be sharing her story of how she came from hospital and community, federally qualified health center history and a few other places as well, and where she's at now in 340B and how she's loving it and how she discovered that path. Hey, Akimo, Florida. I was just in Florida. Wild because okay, so I flew to Florida, right? The last time I flew to Florida, Russia decided to invade Ukraine. So I thought, okay, this time, nothing bad's going to happen this time I go to Florida. And what happens? Microsoft decides to stop working for all airlines. And President Biden steps down from his presidential election. Nothing historic. I'm not tired of going to Florida. I still love Florida. We're going to be going into some things today, and I would love to hear your story with whatever career journey you're on. But if you'd like to talk with us, we are actually starting next week to be doing 1-hour classes Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. It is called Offer in 6. It's about how to get a job offer that you want in less than 6 months. We're specializing right now in remote and pharma. We have 3 action steps and a bunch of other cool tips for you to learn in this workshop. You can go to the calendar here to see when we are. I'd love to hang out with you. It's live, it's interactive. Right now, I only get to see you guys in the comments, so that's okay. But I'm going to be mainly hanging out with Stephanie today. And so you can do that by going to that link. You'll answer a few questions just to make sure that we're a right fit for you and that we can help you. And then there'll be a calendar after those questions. So with that out of the way, I would love to dive into Stephanie's story so that you can learn some lessons about what it's like working with a career coach, what it's like looking at the job market. Maybe you can relate to some of the things that Stephanie did before working with us, and hopefully have, a good time. That's all I really want to have with Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
How tall are you? Because I look taller than you in this video.
I'm 5'9".
5'9"?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I am. So we're the same height.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we just How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Today was my day off, so definitely good day.
Ooh, nice. Nice. So Stephanie, where are you currently working now?
So I work for a company called Proxys RX. I know you didn't want to say it.
Yes.
So they help hospitals and large facilities, smaller facilities, open retail, outpatient community pharmacies. I am attached to a critical access hospital in Lautier, Louisiana. We opened June 26th as a brand new pharmacy, and there was a huge need for the community to have this community pharmacy. With Winn-Dixie's closing and the Temperature and Independent Pharmacy, this was just a huge need for the community. And throughout this process, it just guided me to something I'm happy to go to work to every day.
Nice. That feels good, right?
It is.
So you're not from Louisiana, right?
No, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and
There's no accent.
Yeah, I don't have a Cajun accent. And I moved with my parents when I was in high school, and they moved and retired to Florida, ironically. And I stayed. I love Louisiana, so it would be hard for me to move.
Nice. So before you started working with us to identify like a career and all of that, like what was going on with your previous job?
So I was actually in school. I was getting my master's of legal studies in pharmacy compliance, device management, and health and hospital law. A lot of words. Um, so I
Had a
graduated.
master's?
It's a master's.
Okay.
So I graduated that previous May, so May of 23, and I was on the hunt for a job and no plan, just kind of applying on Indeed, applying.
Yeah.
I had some interviews, some first round interviews, some I made it all the way to the final round, and nothing really stick. And I was applying to jobs, but they weren't really, if I got it, I got it. If who knows, I felt like it was just going to be the same sort of situation over and over again. Ironically, in January of 24, I was laid off. And the week before, I signed up to do the Happy Farm D because I was just like, what do I do? What can I like? Clearly, this isn't working, and I need to do something different. And I had previously talked with someone from the Happy Farm D in July of 23.
Okay.
And, I thought I could do it better on my own. Um, but, so, it was perfect timing. And when I had my initial call with you, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry you got laid off. And I'm like, I'm not upset about it. It
Why?
was time for me to move on. It
Mm,
was like I wasn't in a good situation. Um, I had turmoil with my boss and things that were happening, and I just wasn't happy. So the fact that it happened, it wasn't a huge thing. It actually was
mm,
a relief in some ways. And so when I did my call with you, I'm like, okay, so how fast can we do this? What do we need to do? How motivated can I be? And, what are the chances I'm going to be hired in 90 days?
yeah.
It worked.
All legitimate questions. So just for background for some people, were you mainly in like the 340B space or were you in community hospital? Like what other work experience have you had?
You name it, I've done it.
Really?
I have worked for Walgreens. I did that for almost 10 years. Back when Walgreens was a better company, and it, we had that camaraderie and
Mm,
those lovely hours and budget and all those things. Initially, I thought I was never going to leave Walgreens, and then I became a pharmacist, and that changed. Then I went into hospital pharmacy. Actually, the hospital that my outpatient pharmacy is attached to is the hospital I've been with for 11 years on and off PRN.
mm,
And then I went to home infusion, and that was, I thought it was going to be the perfect mesh of retail and hospital, and it was going to be great. And then that's when I went to the FQHC world and really got into 340B and all of that madness. And then everything you could think of changed in the 340B world. And so it was always something changing and something new and a new challenge. So it kind of drew in a lot of things that I was passionate about and I loved, but it just wasn't the company for me.
uh, was it the culture or workload or type of work?
All of the above.
Mm,
Um, one of my first assignments with my coach was doing an Ikigai, and it was be as open and be as vulnerable as possible. And it drew out things that really showed my passion.
mm,
Um, so I think in my initial work search and job search and things like that. I was going towards things that I thought I would like, but it wasn't, it's a job.
Yeah.
Going through that and revising it and adding to it and circling things and highlighting things, it really helped me get to what I like to do and what I want to do.
Mm. So for context, for anyone who's never heard of that word ikigai, right? Because that doesn't sound English. It's not. It's
It's
Japanese.
not.
It means a reason for being, and it's a great coaching exercise for us to use to help someone really brain dump a lot of different activities. Um, a, a way of being can be described by like really three or four things, which is what the world needs, you can make money doing, what you're naturally great at, and then what you love or what you're passionate about or interested or curious about. And by meshing all of those together, sometimes that helps people identify what they want to get into next. So, so is it that you did that exercise and then right away 340B just came up? Like that was the thing?
Not necessarily. It wasn't necessarily 340B, but I knew a lot of what I didn't want in my next role. I
Mm,
knew what I needed for me to be happy. And it wasn't like things that you automatically think of, like more money and, all of this vacation time and different things. None of that came up. It was more about I needed a leader to help me grow and develop. I think that's really important for me. I needed a leader that was actually in healthcare and spoke pharmacist. That was really important. My entire executive team, minus the CFO, is a pharmacist. So they understand. When I ask something, they can give me context and background, and they can truly help me. Where prior to, I had to explain something for an hour just to be told, no, I couldn't do something.
mm. Yeah, sometimes leaders can really make or break everything, right?
Mhm.
You can
And
even have
it's,
a really great team, but if your leader's like, nah,
yeah.
yeah, not so much. When you were looking for a job before, like from that July of last year to January, what were some of the things that you were doing to look for that job?
I laugh about it now because it's just like the process can be so easy if you do simple things. And I was just doing everything wrong. Um, I was on Indeed and just scrolling and
Yep.
just, oh, here, I'm going to apply to that. Oop, I'm going to apply to that. But I never, tailored a resume. It was just the same resume for everything, and it didn't really make sense. And
Mm,
it just didn't work. Sometimes I would get a hit because some of my resume had the keywords, but really it was not it, I would never hear back. I would never hear anything, or I'd get through one interview and again get ghosted.
yeah. Yeah, getting ghosted, it stinks. Um,
Or you could get a rejection like 2 weeks ago, like from this date about a job I applied to in 2022.
did that happen?
Yes.
That sounds too specific.
Yes. And I'm like, what is this job? And then I logged in and looked and I'm like, oh, that's
Hmm.
really far along.
How did it feel to be like looking that way? Like, did it feel fruitless or did it feel like, you know, trying to go back to the gym in March when you haven't been there since January 1st? Or how did it feel to you?
It just felt like I was spinning my wheels. Like I felt like I was a hamster just on one of those little spinny wheel things. And I was just exhausting
Hmm.
myself to try and find something and, what's happening. And, I definitely knew layoffs were coming. So, and I was like, it's going to be me. But so I was just spinning and spinning and spinning. And I think finally in December, that's when I made the decision, and it was time, and let's go. What do I have to lose at this point?
Yeah.
More rejection.
Yeah. And keep trying and keep trying.
Yeah.
So you talked with us, you try for 6 months, nothing produces, layoff, and then you're like, okay, now I need to get serious. Is that what led you to get a coach, or was there another reason that led you to work with a professional?
Well, I applied actually before I got laid off. And I was starting the program. I literally started the week before I got laid off.
Oh,
So it was, but like I said, it was perfect timing in some ways. I think it was, I feel like everything happens for a reason. And this timing was literally perfect. January and February is Mardi Gras in New Orleans, so that's a big holiday for me. So
yeah.
I got to enjoy Mardi Gras. I ride in a Mardi Gras crew. I got the time off that I needed. I didn't have to fight anyone. And, timing is everything. And so starting the process literally the week before, I was ready for it. My first coach was basically the day after it happened.
Oh, yeah. What a thing to start with.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow,
my
wow,
coach
wow.
was just like big-eyed, and I was like, I'm good. I came to terms with it a while ago, knowing it was coming. And I was good. I was at peace. And now it was just like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. Let's find it. We got 90 days.
Yeah, 90 days. I mean, it's not a stretch. It's not impossible. I think the quickest turnaround time that we've had in the program is like 2 weeks. But like 90 days isn't impossible. When you started with us, were you super clear about what you wanted to get into, or were you open to a lot of different things?
I was all over the place. I think I applied to anything that looked appealing. I was probably in 30 different industries. And honestly, this was not the position I had in my head when I started.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all.
Well, that's the journey, right? I think people want the job search to be like a really clear, straight line, right? One step in front of another, and that's going to lead you right to where you need to go. And sadly, careers are meant to be like explored, Wild West, the final frontier. It's a little scary. It's a little weird. You don't know where you're going exactly or what it's going to lead to. What was like the final decision for you to be working with a coach before all of the layoff, though?
I think it honestly came down to what I was doing wasn't working. I needed help, and I needed a different person's perspective of it to figure it out and to really deep dive and reflect even and get feedback. So much we end up in monovision, and you can't see what you're so focused on. So I think having a coach really opened that up and gave me feedback that was really important. And, I would send a job and it may not be the right fit, but I'm like, I want to apply to this. This is the job. And we talk about it, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not the right fit for me. And,
Yeah. It's you describing that reminded me of like when I'm trying on clothes in front of my wife and I go, I thought it looked good, but it doesn't look good on me. And she's like,
No.
No,
Please put that away.
take it off, please. And I'm like, "Ugh, all right, whatever." A good I mean, it's why I have a coach. I need a mirror, you know? It's really easy to get stuck inside your own head and think,
Mhm.
"This is what everyone else does. This is what I should do. So I'm
And
gonna
that
move
was a
forward
huge
and
thing.
do it."
Everyone wanted remote. So I'm like, "Oh, I want remote." And I don't do well in remote.
How did
I'm
you discover that?
the ikigai.
Yeah.
I needed to be around people.
Hmm.
I am more productive when I work with a team and my team is with me.
Yeah. Yeah, some that I'm gonna clip that, like, is remote everything? Yeah, a
It
lot
is
of people want remote. I mean, it sounds really appealing, but as someone who works remotely, there is downside. I don't get to connect with people all the time, you know? Um, I still have friends. I still meet people, you know, in real life. But yeah, you miss the camaraderie.
Mhm.
But I can hear some people saying like, you know what though, I need a break, and more power to you,
Yeah.
right? But what was important is that you discovered like what you really wanted, what
Mhm.
would make you really fulfilled. Um, so when you actually, what I'd like to know is how would you describe coaching, and had you ever had a coach before?
I've had mentors throughout my entire pharmacy career. I had a leader who told me always have a mentor, always have someone that you have in your back pocket that is your biggest cheerleader that will try to set you straight when you need to. So I've always had that to some extent, but a coach is completely different.
Mm,
Which I thought they were very similar in the same thing. Uh, my coach was definitely awesome to work with. She told me what I needed to hear, but also pushed me way out of my comfort zone, which I think is a reason I was so successful. Um, and I was 100% in it to win it with the process.
mm.
So I may have made her job a little easier in that situation. But she was the best to work with. We did 6 a.m. phone calls, which worked with both of our schedules. It was, it was just a very good experience. And she would definitely give me the feedback that was needed.
So it's kind of like a mirror and you're naked. You can't hide anything in front of it. This is
No.
exactly I'm doing a great job describing coaching. Uh, um, so you have these sessions with your coach, you're getting involved with your career, you pick a career path, you learn that you want to be in person. What is that initial process like to actually find open opportunities?
I feel like I was speed racing through the process
Yeah.
just because I knew I had a time limit. Um, so I definitely had more homework than maybe other people in the program because I was like, okay, I need to be, by here, I feel like I need to be here. I need to do this. I need to do that. So I was very strict on my timeline. And, my coach was all for it. And we worked through the workbook and we got everything processed and had all of my ideas down and everything that was needed to make me successful. We started relatively early looking at jobs that hit my keywords.
Mm.
And then I would just basically, bounce the ideas off of her. What do you think of this? Do you think it's a good fit for me? Do I need to revisit? Do I, should I apply? Should I network with someone in this company? Should I, um, you know, what should I do? I definitely had to, again, get out of my comfort zone
Yeah.
to, randomly talk to people.
Yeah. Not used to that, huh?
No, I before this whole situation, I was never going to be the person that reached out to some random person that I've never talked to, never met, to
Mhm.
say, "Hey, what's going on? How do you
Yeah.
like it?
Yeah, you
What do
don't
you?"
wanna bother people, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
weird. Who's doing that?
Well, and my coach gave me, she's like, "Set a goal, something simple." And I think you gave me the same goal. Reach out to 3 people in the week. Well, I reached out to 3 people that day because I had, if I'm going to do it for the week, I'm
There you go.
then and there and just hurry up. Let's see how many rejections I get. Couldn't be any more than my job rejections that I didn't get.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, I ended up doing 8 the first week, and 7 out of 8 responded. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, weird. People actually talk to random people." Um,
Mhm.
and that's how my networking started.
Yeah.
And then I realized, okay, this isn't that weird or awkward or hard. And then, of course, I did 8, so I had to do double that. I had to do 2 a day, and it just grew from there. And now I don't feel awkward reaching out to some random person.
If you're watching this live, let me know yes or no if networking is awkward for you. Love to get a live poll going. Um, I like to think of LinkedIn as like it's a giant convention and everyone's there, but no one wants to talk to each other. They all have their phones out. It's like a high school party now. Actually, I don't know what those are like. I don't know why I use that. It's like a party now sometimes with a bunch of disengaged people. How about that? That's better. Um, I'm in my 30s. Deal with it, Alex. It's like everyone's on their phone and no one's talking to each other, but they're willing. Um, you joined earlier, but we now have this down to a science, Stephanie. So we can talk after this, after I hit the end record button. But I have a template that gets about a 50% success rate, getting people to actually just start a conversation.
Hmm.
Um, Everyone's really open to chatting. Um, and look at this. Thank you for being honest. Did you feel awkward reaching out?
Me,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. The first couple people, I felt very robotic. I felt very spammy,
Hmm.
and I felt like this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to get me a job.
Yeah.
And when I got the responses, I'm like, okay, I can do this. And some people didn't respond, and that's fine. But I put myself out there and
Mm.
started a simple conversation. And some of the people I still communicate with today. We grew, we bounce ideas off of each other. And I again, it's that remote aspect for me that makes it feel awkward.
Yeah.
But if I do it in person at a conference, I'm perfectly fine walking up to a random person and saying, "Hey, what do you do? What are you here for?" And it's normal. So why is it not the same on LinkedIn?
Yeah, head garbage. It's all mindset. You look at someone's profile and you start putting them on a pedestal thinking that they're more important than you, or they have an opportunity for you, so you don't want to embarrass yourself, so you don't want to say anything weird, and so you get stuck in your head. It's like, the guy that's too embarrassed to talk to the girl that he has a crush on for the last 6 months. It's like she's a goddess to him and he can't get the words out when she's just a human being,
Hmm.
that probably hasn't even noticed him. And the same is true on LinkedIn. You mentioned something earlier that I thought was really poignant, that we as coaches like to push. Um,
You do.
nature has a rule, and it applies in careers, which is if you're not growing, you're dying. Um, and the only way to grow, unfortunately, is to get out of what's comfortable.
Hmm.
Um, the economy is the same way. When things get too stagnant, it changes. When same thing happens with culture, it's why we don't speak old English still. What what helped you get out of your comfort zone?
My coach.
Okay, yeah, the solution we provide, great.
I mean, that's, she did small changes. So it wasn't like I had to go to zero from 100, like to 100 in 24 hours. It was small, manageable goals.
Mm,
And, I would say, well, I can reach out to two people a week. And she would be like, you can do five. And my competitive nature was like, okay, I can do five. Great, okay. Um, and then I would end up doing like six or seven. And for whatever it was, but it was just like small little pushes that really pushed the needle and
mm,
got me where I wanted to go.
nice.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Okay, so give us the dirty details about the job. How did you discover it? What was the interview process like? Like was it job boards or through a referral or network that you discovered it? What was that like?
So during my fun layoff time period, I was working actually at the hospital where this whole outpatient pharmacy was becoming a real life idea. And my boss for the hospital kind of presented it to me earlier in the year. And I was like, nah, that's not for me. Um, and we laugh about it now because, yeah, I turned him down again. Um, so, we started this process and, I like operations. I like streamlining things. I like creating systems and doing all the operation type things. That's, that's why I like being at Walgreens. Everything was a system, everything was an operation and an SOP and a workflow and all of those things. So we started talking about it again because construction had started. And I was working with my coach, and I'm like, this could be something. So, again, using my network, I talked to my boss at the time, and, he definitely played the straight line of, well, you have to go through the whole interview process, and I'm not just going to give it to you. And I'm like, okay. But he said he would put in a good word for me. So that to me was huge. And since it's technically two separate entities, the entity that actually I work for didn't know me from anyone.
Mm,
They actually almost chose someone else over me. Um,
okay, well, let's get to that in a second. But I want to highlight something. I think some people may hear that and think like, "Oh, you just got lucky."
mm-mm,
It makes me mad that people think that. There's a lot of work involved in networking, and most people don't put in the work. Um, right now, in the job market, there are a lot of jobs available online, and that's the last place that companies want to go to find people. Usually, they have to put a job online for regulatory reasons, right? In order to track jobs and US mandates and all of that. But rather, in most cases, managers want to hire someone that they can trust, that comes from a recommendation, from someone else,
mm-hmm,
someone that they can rely upon and like not have to feel like they're gambling like the company's time, money, and energy to train up a person who may not work out. So the hidden job market really supplies a lot of candidates. And right now, if you just look at recruitment stats, job boards account for anywhere from like 5 to 10% of hires. Meanwhile, job referrals, the kind of process that, or sorry, you're over here, Stephanie did, that accounts for over 40% of all hires in the job market. So, what I think is really interesting, though, I want to move on, Stephanie, is that you convinced yourself almost to not even consider this an opportunity. What was the narrative you were telling yourself about that job?
I don't want to go back to retail.
Ooh, and that's how it was pitched?
To some extent, but I was like, I had the mindset, I had been in retail so many times that I don't want to be in retail or community pharmacy because that would be going backwards and I want to go forwards.
Hmm. So, what was a day in the life like now? Well, actually, no, I'm jumping ahead. Um, so you go through the interview, right? They choose you. They almost choose someone else. Why do they choose you?
My network.
Okay, we belabored the point.
But it's true. But I had so many cheerleaders for me saying they better pick you. And that
So it
true,
wasn't just your boss at the hospital?
it wasn't. It was, oh, you'd be great for this. Like you're the perfect person for this. And you know, it was the reason I got the job.
Hmm.
I had a conversation with my current boss, and that's when it came up that I almost wasn't chosen. But they said that my network definitely helped me in the situation.
Awesome. So they offer you the job. What's the title?
I'm a pharmacist in charge for parish pharmacy.
Nice. 340B.
Hmm.
Did you negotiate your job offer?
I did.
How did that go?
I think my initial offer was very basic. And so just looking through the process and asking questions and making sure it works for you. So, initially after I received the offer letter, I said, I have to think about this because it wasn't exactly what I wanted.
Mm.
But HR was definitely, she's like, do you need to set up a meeting with, who your boss would be? Do we need to explain some things? Maybe I'm not the right person to explain all the perks of the position. And so after I discussed with my now boss, we worked through some things and I mean, clearly I'm here now. So, but it was just asking questions and making sure it was the right fit.
Hmm. Did you go for more salary, more benefits, both?
More benefits, and really making sure, and I hate this term, work-life balance, um, is right. And initially with the job, it was not right. I definitely put in a lot of hours just trying to get the pharmacy open and running and all of those things. But now, as of like 2 weeks ago, my schedule's now set. I do a 4-day work week. I
Mm.
have a 3-day weekend 3 out of 4 weeks of the month. Um, I work 10-hour shifts, but I'd rather work longer days and have more days off.
Mhm.
Um,
3-day weekends are magical.
I can't wait to have more
Well,
freedom.
congratulations on negotiating that. That's fantastic.
It was definitely intimidating and it was definitely like, well, are they just going to reject me then?
Mm.
Because I'm not just magically signing. And it was really just talking and trying to get more information because like I said, my offer was like a paragraph, and I'm like, so what does this mean? Um,
How did your coach help you negotiate?
she made me make a list of everything that I wanted, um, and
Hmm.
things that were like non-negotiables. And you know, benefits are huge for me. I don't really use healthcare, so I don't want to spend an arm and a leg for my healthcare benefits. I have a $1,500 HSA to use each year that the company funds. That's huge. Um, my PTO balance, my work week, my schedule, making sure I have support and staff. That was huge for me.
Mm.
And all of those things were checked off. So honestly, it makes my job in the day to day so much easier because I have that support and a team that really backs me up. And in some ways, I reversed the whole situation and used what I learned here to hire my team.
Mm.
So one was a referral from me for my technician,
Nice.
and then they referred a second one. So
Hey, hidden job market, baby. It exists.
yeah, it was
So,
such an easy process for that then.
I know I was going to ask you about salary, but you're like me. You don't always watch the paychecks coming in. Was this job, do you remember if it's more money than your previous job?
I am. I'm
Okay,
making definitely more money,
nice.
and I don't come home stressed. I don't come home like I gotta hurry up and get on my computer and do this, this, and this, and I'm working all these extra hours to try and get something done, and I'm always chasing the needle, but it's never getting anywhere. Now, when I'm home, I'm really home, and that's huge.
What have you been doing with your new freedom?
Um, so I am going on vacation next week, and
Where
I,
to?
well, it's more of a vacation for my family. My dad just had a big birthday milestone, so we're going on a golf trip for him.
Oh,
But
fun.
yeah, and then we're going on a couples trip, and so I'm free to do a lot more. Where I feel like my previous job, I had a lot of freedom,
Mm,
but I really was never free. I could never take PTO and not have my computer or not have my phone or not answer a Teams message. And now, oh, if I'm off, I'm off. Like that they apologize for, I'm so sorry to have bothered you. We can follow up with this later.
mm.
It's so nice
It's amazing what happens when you work for a company that actually respects you.
and cares.
Mm. It feels good.
It does.
That's a wonderful feeling. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy that like you got the job. You started with us in January. You got the job offer March 8th, right?
Mhm.
You've been at it for a while, so this is a testament. Like it's a good job.
I'm super happy. I love the team I work with. I love the hospital I work with. My
Mm,
patients are awesome. I, I enjoy coming to work now.
mm,
Where before it was like it would be a Monday through Friday, and I gotta get up again for work. I have to go to work. Now it's not like that. I
mm.
like to go.
Oh, that's such a good feeling.
It
Uh,
is.
I remember when I quit my job, and I remember waking up on Monday, first day of the week. I'm going to do my work and thinking to myself, should I feel this good? Like,
Kind of weird. You kind of feel guilty in a way.
you feel guilty. Yes. Yeah. I've recovered. It goes away with time.
Yeah, it definitely has.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad for you as well. I have one more question, but I saw one comment here I want to comment on. Cindy asked tips or tricks for networking. Yeah, I would say the best thing that you can do is start talking to people. Reach out to alumni, your association, go on LinkedIn.
Random people work great.
Not everyone's going to talk to you, and that's fine. Okay.
Mhm.
They're not going to tell everyone. I think there's like this myth. Oh, here's something wild, Stephanie, that I discovered in the past couple months. You know how everyone says pharmacy is a small world, you know?
It is, though.
Right. It is. But I've discovered something. There's an ellipses after that saying that dot dot dot, right? But no one says what they want to say. And it's pharmacy is a small world, so don't say or do something stupid. That's what everyone's trying to say.
Yeah.
Because every pharmacist I talk to about networking that has that little hesitation to like reach out to people it's because of that. It's a small world. What if I say something dumb? So don't worry. And Cindy, what I would encourage you to do is hang out with me next week. I'm teaching a couple of classes called Offer in Six, and I'll be talking a little bit about networking in there and some things that you can do differently. There's only 10 spots available in this workshop, and it's free to join. Just answer a few questions. I'd love to hang out and help you with some networking. Okay, so I think I covered the gambit. Laid off to loving 340B, starting up your own pharmacy, creating your own team, waking up on Monday happy, Ford 3-day weekends. I could keep going. It's a great situation. What would you want to tell someone who's maybe on the fence about working with a coach here at the Happy Farm D?
Don't do what I did and wait 6 months, because I could have started this 6 months sooner.
Mm.
And, but again, I feel like timing is everything, and everything happens for a reason for me. I'm stubborn. I had to learn the hard way. Um, but, I had the call initially in July of 23.
Mm.
Didn't do anything about it until December of 23. If you're truly serious about getting a new career that you're happy in, it makes it so much easier. The process works. Trust me, I went through the 6 months of trying to figure out everything on my own. It's a struggle. It's stressful. It is just not a fun place to be in the job market when you're just guessing. We were able to really decide what I wanted to do, find what I want to do, find what I like, what I don't like, what I need in a job, what I don't need in a job. And again, I got feedback, good, bad, ugly. Sometimes I was open to hear it. Sometimes I'm like, I'm probably not like that. And then my next coaching call, I'm like, yeah, I'm really like that. But it works. And it was an awesome experience. I still stay in contact with my coach, because my coach is awesome. And, she was great to work with and made the process easy and fun. And I didn't feel stressed out about not getting the job, because there were jobs I applied to and I got an interview because I networked with some random person that I had no idea who they were, but they had those keywords in their LinkedIn profile that I was like, hey, start a conversation with them. Worst thing they could say is no. And, within 30 minutes, I had a phone call scheduled with the person to discuss their role, discuss their job. It turned out it wasn't the right role for me, but I was able to connect with someone pretty easy. Someone that didn't live in my state, didn't live on my side of the country, and we were able to relate. And in me doing it myself, I would have never done that.
Mm. I couldn't have said it better myself. It's almost as if I gave you a script.
You didn't.
I know I could have said that a little bit more simply to make it believable. Stephanie, this has been such a wonderful time. I love hearing your story. I remember the phone call we had at the beginning of the year,
Mhm.
or was it December? I don't even remember.
It was January.
It was January. So I remember that call. I remember the goals that we had set out. And I'm very happy to hear that not only did you get a job in like 2 months, but on top of that, you also got to enjoy Mardi Gras. You got to have some fun.
Did all the things I wanted to at the beginning of the year. It was awesome.
That's fantastic. Thank you again for sharing your story. Now, if you're here and listening and you are wanting to, whether you're wanting to get a job like now or you're wanting to get a job 12 months from now, today's the time to get started. You don't want to plant a tree 30 years ago. You can't do it. You can start today, though. And by starting today, you can create something really cool, a career that you actually enjoy, not just a job, but something that you could do and have some fun with. And that's by hanging out with me next week in one of our workshops. We only let 10 people into this, so spots go quickly. I, in fact, already saw a few people sign up. Val, thank you for signing up. Veshmi, thank you for signing up as well. Excited to hang out with you guys next week. See a few more here, but thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for your involvement. And Stephanie, again, thank you for your time tonight. Have a great Thursday and a wonderful weekend upcoming. All right. Good night, everyone.